gentlemen. Today we're taking a look at some loose paper sketches, and if we have time, we're going to be taking a look at the two final sketchbooks. And these two might be broken up into other videos. It really depends on how long it takes us to get through this. And in here we got a lot of very important imagery. So let's move these two to the side and let's get into it. So around 2009-2010, I began drawing with a very world-renowned artist whose name I'm not going to mention because I get enough emails as it is, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be swarmed with them. But I began doing live figure model drawing with him. And this is his sketch. I had drawn the same pose and messed it up dramatically. And here he was just teaching me like about anatomy, proportions, and how to sketch properly rather than going straight into detail like I was used to. Because at the time, I didn't really sketch things. I just kind of went right into detail. So you can see the very stark difference. I don't know what the hell I was doing there. I was like putting a flower in her eye socket. It's also around this time that I made the switch from comic books to figurative drawing. Here's some more sketches him and I did. And this is after he showed me like pretty much how to sketch much better. Here's some graffiti. Remember how I said before that I began doing a 10-year letter structure study where I did not color the images at all whatsoever? This is part of that 10-year study. Here's a sketch I did for school. It was a class assignment dressed to the nines. So I drew like this kind of demon looking guy who's like a high priest or some kind of druid or something. So he's got some fancy gear on that's really dressed up. Here's something else I sketched, which I can't explain. I don't know what it is. It's like a centaur kind of deal where it's a demon beast with another demon coming out of him. Don't ask me. I don't even know myself. Here's another sketch I did. This happened around 2010, which is around the time I started my YouTube channel actually. Look at that signature. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Not good. And the sketch isn't all that great either. I messed up on the nose. But you can even tell by looking at this and looking at the previous sketchbooks that I was making improvements. This is, I want to say, after a year of me spending time sketching with my mentor, you can tell that my anatomy and just my sketching process, everything, was increased tenfold. This is a massive improvement over the original sketch I did over here. Here's another sketch I did, and once again the improvement is dramatic compared to how I first went in there. And here's the same pose again, but this, I think we had more time to do this one, so I began like just sketching the background and whatnot of his studio. And here's some more pose sketches that I did. These are 10-minute sketches, by the way. And I think this was done with him, but there's a chance that this was not. I'm not sure if this was done with my mentor in his studio or if this was just something I did on my own, to be honest. This is also another one of the very first times I went in there. You can see the resemblance in the sketching process and how, like, I really wasn't comfortable doing heads and eyeballs and stuff like that and legs, so you can tell that I was not well versed yet. This is another one of those 10-year study images I did. I wonder what happened to a lot of my 10-year studies because this was very early on in the 10-year study as to where the one you previously saw was much later on. In fact, I think I have the same exact piece inside one of the sketchbooks you guys already saw. So I wonder what happened to the other ones. Aha! Look at that! This is the black and white version and this is the colored version. Like I said, I did a 10-year study of black and whites, so I must have liked this and then went ahead and did this as a result. I didn't do a good job on the fill-in though. I mean, I didn't do a good job on the letters, but another 10-year study. And right here we have the very first sketch of Cyclops. You know, little cartoon Cyclops that everybody knows and loves right here? This is his first version, which ended up getting split into a different character. He's got like tentacle dreads and he's muscular, ripped, skinny, and tall, and he ended up becoming this right here. And here we have one of the more important sketches out of this bunch. This right here is when I had the very conscious realization that hybrid style could be a thing. So over here we have an extension that comes from the middle of the E, shoots out this way back onto itself, but over here on this extension we add a little extension off that, and then we make that extension ride onto the 3D, therefore extending the 3D. At the time I didn't realize that this was just a more refined version of the things I practiced in the previous sketches you guys saw. So I went ahead and called it New Idea. Extension rides on the edge of 3D. Little did I know, I had already been doing this. And that's a pretty good starting point for hybrid style. Now we move on to the newer sketchbooks. Here's a drawing I did back when I was 23 years old. It's like some kind of demon entity telling the woman to wait here while he checks out what's ahead. I never got around to finishing it for whatever reason. Here we have the sketch for fine line. Typically the way I do my work is I do like a preliminary sketch where I decide the fundamentals and how the piece is going to look and all that, and then I do an actual finalized sketch and then I sketch it onto the canvas itself. So here's fine line, like the preliminary sketch. This was actually intended to be on a wall. You can see I had an idea of this piece being 6 feet, probably tall, not wide. This would be larger than 6 feet wide. But it ended up never being on a wall, instead it went on a canvas. As you can tell, my mentor's anatomy studies and all that came to use because I'm now much more comfortable sketching stuff like this. This still isn't perfect, but it's much better than my old work. There's a lot of progression that happened there. Here we have the preliminary sketch for Tragedies at Hand. Once again using the name Dr. Grimm, as you can see in the top left. And here we're just deciding the environment and all that stuff, as well as the letter structure and all that. At this point, I already know graffiti's fundamentals, so we're well into hybrid style at this point. At this point, we are really digging into hybrid style and immersing ourselves in it completely. As you can see, we have some exterior details that are now treated as three-dimensional objects. It didn't get into the final painting, but we also have an outline here that's treated three-dimensionally, as well as little cut-ins into the letter that have details inside of that, which also did not make it into the painting. Here we have some thumbnail sketches for other paintings. None of these got created, all of these got pushed to the side. This one was the closest one, which is why it's shaded, but all the other ones were pushed to the side. Down here I wanted a cartoon of Grimm poking a realistic, like a hyper-realistic woman's butt, because he's never seen a real person. He's like, oh man, I'm not used to these non-cartoon cakes. Here's another canvas idea that I never ended up making a reality. We have a three-dimensional hybrid style, wild style, that actually serves a purpose, and that purpose is for her to sit on. The idea behind this was, it was a female deity that was the creator and the goddess of graffiti, and her throne is the letter G. But this never got created because I didn't have a model to fit this image. Here's a regular two-dimensional graffiti piece. There's not really much hybrid style elements into this. We do have interior details that become exterior details that then become three-dimensional, but that's about as hybrid style as this gets. And this was also meant for a wall. This was done back in 2014, 12:40 a.m., 23 years old, and we have our ascender line developed, our cap height, our mean line, baseline, descender, bottom of the wall. And then we also have the entire like schematics of the wall. We have the height of the piece as well as the fill-in and all of that stuff. We got a little bit of a straight letter. Still love doing straight letters. This is my favorite form of graffiti. Oh, this was a dope image right here. I did a parody of the Silent Hills, and this was the sketch for that. As you can see, some more cartoon practice. I'm still not versed on cartoons. I'm still kind of learning. But this was done a long time ago. I tried making my brother into a cartoon. Didn't quite work out. Here we have some more cartoon sketches that were for various things. These ended up being used for outros, as well as other assets for my Twitch streams. This is pretty much a base straight letter. For those of you guys who don't know, in graffiti, it's very common for a graffiti artist to have a straight letter that they use multiple times, similarly to like a throw up or a hand style. This would be that for me. You'll oftentimes see me do this if I'm like practicing a new concept or have some new ideas I want to work on. I'll just do this piece and then practice on that piece. Here's a little sketch I did for my Twitch offline screen, Oracle Bum, along with Veronica. This was a portrait I never finished. It looks weird because it's not shaded, but at this point I had already been doing hyper-realistic imagery, so I don't want to come off like I'm bragging, but I was able to kind of just do portraits and whatnot without sketching it. Once you find the specific point of a thing, you can then just connect the dots and figure out everything else. I wanted this to be one of my Twitch alerts where Grimm would be sitting on a seat and he'd be swiping through his phone, and then the camera angle would go behind him to look at his phone, and he'd be looking at like Tinder or something, just swiping on girls and whatnot, and then he'll see a girl he likes and accept her, and then Veronica would pop up behind the sofa and smack him with like a frying pan over the head. Over here I was trying different styles of cartoons and I just was not good enough to do those. Here's more concept art for pieces. These are two different pieces that I wanted to rock. Graffiti was gonna be on the background and they were gonna have this shape that was obviously from like a different realm and from a higher being, and anytime any of them got close to it, any of the females got close to it, they would die. And then you would have a deity in the back kind of just like watching over it as all that stuff took place. And this picture, Grimm was gonna have a piece up and Cyclops was gonna be trying to go over it, but Grimm was like yanking at his hood backwards, and I just didn't find graffiti that fit both of these very well, so I didn't progress on either of the two. And for this one I need more models. I need more models for this one. Here was the environment for either this or this. It could be interchangeable.
Oh man, the dogs are barking in the back.
Bok, bok, bok. Woof, woof. Right here we have an image where it was supposed to be for this year's Halloween. I do a annual image for each holiday, mostly for Valentine's Day and Halloween. So really not any of the holidays, just 2 of them. And it was gonna be Veronica kind of like hearing something on this window over here while Jason looks at her, and then I realized, oh wait, Jason's copywritten, probably can't sell that image, so I decided to go ahead and replace that with more zombies. I already have that full image sketched out, I just need to color it, and I'm saving it for next Halloween. And here we have the Bomb Squad pumpkin picking at Pumpkin's Pumpkin Patch. So Pumpkin owns a pumpkin patch, and the other cartoon characters were gonna be pumpkin picking there. That's a tongue twister, man, that's a tongue twister. But it didn't progress any farther than this because I couldn't fit Grim and Veronica in the same image comfortably, and they need to be in the image. I mean, they're kind of also the main characters. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the little sketchbook tour we just went through. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to demolish that like button. For those of you guys that are new here, subscribing is a great way to make sure you don't miss any content. We come out with a whole wide range of art videos. Also, very last little promotional thing, don't forget we do sell prints as well as very affordable original artwork on my online store. We even feature other artists in the online store as well. You can find a link to that in the description down below. And lastly, we stream 5 days overall on Twitch. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to go ahead and check it out in the description down below. Drop a follow, and subscribing overall on Twitch is a great way to support me. I'll see you guys next time, but until then, peace. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the end card. I hope you guys enjoyed the little sketchbook tour. As always, we got some extra content over here. You got a playlist by me up in this way, and then down here we're promoting a different artist here on YouTube, and it's always gonna be somebody whose content I really enjoyed. Hopefully try to get that community getting built here on YouTube. Hey man, I'm not gonna complain too much. YouTube doesn't have, you know, really a home for artists, seeing as we don't get our own category or anything. So us artists gotta stick together. We gotta kinda build our own community, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna head on out of here.